I think that Bargain is a really good enabler for the archetype. Obviously, it digs really deep for your combo pieces while also like passively filling up your graveyard for both Delirium and the combo. Now, people are really high on Bargain sometimes. I think that this enamorment with Bargain in like the Sultai Frog deck is dying pretty quickly. But I think this card is really nice in graveyard-based combo strategies. And especially for Sultai colors, that's kind of a narrow range. It's like kind of Goryo's in this deck. But I think it's a really, really good enabler for this shell, where it both can like mill over your Omniscience, get you Delirium, and then get you Woodlands, get you Payoff. And when you have an Omniscience in play, you get to cast it and dig pretty deep into your deck too. So it's like it's always good to have more high card draw selection spells in your Omniscience builds. Now, I decided to try to move away from Karn from this build. If you wanted to play Karn, you would cut these 4 cards, play Karn, and play the Karn board. But I think that it's really important to have like a very full sideboard with how like linear the format is, and like there's just a lot of combo decks, so having a very full sideboard I think is very nice. Although Karn, of course, is good against pretty full sideboards. But in addition to the Griselbrand, which is like you kind of always play Griselbrand to traverse 4, draw a lot of cards. We have like our combo kill, which is basically Griselbrand plus Bobo, and then sometimes Emrakul is a card you could just like traverse 4 and cast, which is something I like. Just like the ability for like if things are going kind of awkwardly, or if your opponent have like surgical your Omniscience, you could just traverse for Emrakul, cast it, and that's a nice alternative win condition if they have a bunch of counter spells up potentially. And then also Kozilek the Great Distortion, I think, is a really nice tool for situations where you're behind on board. So you like you're being aggroed out by Prowess, you're being aggroed out by Boros, but you have Omniscience and you have a Traverse. You want to get Kozilek, cast Kozilek, refill your hand, and then then you could just discard basically whatever your aggro opponent is casting at you by just discarding a card, and you could put some frogs into play, draw a Fatal Push maybe, and very much like a stabilized card there. And it's kind of nice, too, that Borborygmos, Kozilek, Emrakul, they're not bad to just Shifting Woodland sometimes and just kill your opponent over the course of 2 turns. Yeah, Griselbrand Bobo, classic combo. We played a version of Woodland Omniscience that's was more Goryo's focused. I thought that build was kind of interesting despite being definitely a lot more fragile. Okay, let's keep this hand. Last seen 25 days ago on Dimir Murktide. Now, one kind of nice thing about how this mana base works is that you don't need to be so worried about Blood Moon getting your Utopia Sprawl land all the time, because you're kind of cold to that anyways. Looks like their last list was not main decking Harbinger, so I think I'm going to get the Breeding Pool. Although, you could Fatal Push the Harbinger. They did have it here. It's also one trophy with Temur, Battlecrier, and main deck Panharmonicon. Do you have any thoughts about that? I mean, so Panharmonicon is a card that like is one I wouldn't usually like even consider putting into my deck. But the fact that the same is true for Metamorph, right? Like, Metamorph is a card I almost would never really consider. And so I do agree that you have to rethink some of your attitudes when it comes to decks that reduce your casting costs. And the fact that it costs 0 is interesting. That being said, I feel like the problem is, like, if they cut the Hellkites for it, it's only going to be good in your deck if you have Trailblazers going, and so I'm not sure that a Panharmonicon would be better in that case than just another copy of your Battlecrier. But I think it's an interesting thought. I think I'm gonna go ahead and traverse for Griselbrand so that I could just discard it and Woodlands it should I not find the Omniscience off the Woodland, which of course is likely. And I've got a Force of Negation up. Now, one big problem here, though, is that my opponent is about to Urza Saga. So maybe what I have to do is traverse for Boseiju on the Saga so they can't get main deck Lantern. Fungus with the 35 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Just play Roaming Throne at the point. Yeah, Roaming Throne could be better. So again, I think it's to summarize. Certainly very interesting. Not super likely to be optimal. Okay, I don't think I'm that scared of the Steel Cutter. Interesting that they're doing this second main phase. Maybe if they did this main phase one, I'd force. Now, of course, easy mode here is I just mill over an Omniscience with this Mortuary. A little less than a 10% chance of that happening. Love the decks we have lined up recently. Spike, other than Magic and Blotcho, any other games you've been getting into? I mean, we just finished Split Fiction last night when we got home from Connecticut. That game was amazing. They probably should have sacked this clue token. That game was amazing. One of the best games I've ever played. I would really, really recommend it. And then I started playing the Oblivion remaster. I'm probably not going to play like a lot more of it, honestly. I just don't have the time, but it's very nostalgic. Thanks again, Fungus, for the 35. Ooh, what is this? Kappa Cannoneer. I guess that was kind of obvious. So if I don't force this, they can haste the Kappa Cannoneer. I've been kind of stuck working on this archetype, so I'm glad that my opponent has put some work on it here. I think I do have to force this. Oh yeah, I've heard a lot of people say this Expedition 33 game is good. I don't really know anything about it, but I definitely have heard a lot of people say this game is really good. They can envy it. No, it exiles. Yeah, I saw Local Funk say that Blueprints is really good too. Definitely a good time for games, but I'm also just enjoying being a busy guy these days. All right, so big hit. Put me down to 10. I think we're kind of cooked here with them having the Rebuke up. I think let's go ahead and pack it in. I could like try to Woodlands, Griselbrand on blocks, but I think it's just like a little too telegraphed. Let's just keep it moving here. So we're gonna bring in these 7. I'm gonna cut the forces. Don't know how many fatal pushes you want against them. Like it's good against Tomio and Emery, and it's not really good against anything else. But that is a good amount of targets. And they are pressuring my life total enough that I think I might want the Kozilek still. I don't see Emrakul doesn't seem like amazing when you Emrakul them. Let me just cut that. Then let's play 3 fatal push, not 4. I don't think I'll trim an Indulgence. 3/3 is the best turn-based in years. I'll say I was kind of disappointed with the Metaphor game. Metaphor something. I almost got to the end and I didn't finish it. I hope to at some point. It just felt like it needed a little bit more polish. Like there's like a lot of quality inconsistencies in that game, that was also a turn-based RPG. Like 33 even more than Metaphor. That's good. I mean, I didn't dislike Metaphor, but it was kind of like to me it's kind of like Squid Game, where like it just could have been better. It just had the potential, just needed more polish. I don't know. Like in Metaphor, there's a lot of game assets that are just kind of like embarrassingly bad looking. So they have a Rebuke here. How do we want to maneuver around this Rebuke? Seems like drawing this Indulgence is kind of a nice way to just blank their mana so get to cast something this turn. Metaphor seems super ambitious, super out of left field. Had 2 more years in the oven, I can see regeneration. I agree. Like it just really could have been a lot more polished. But I think it's a good game, and like they may do, like with Persona 5, they also undercooked it, that they released the Royale version, and that version's pretty acclaimed. So they do decide to just fire this off. Okay, so we're probably gonna want to rumble. Interesting. I think we're gonna want to rumble. And then see if we can get Delirium, and if we want to traverse for Collector Ouphe or Woodland. Now, okay, we find Woodland. And we don't mill over an Omniscience yet. And I also don't find Delirium, actually. Okay. So I was kind of expecting to find Delirium there. I think that's going to be fine. We could maybe Boseiju the Saga and play a Frog next turn. Yeah, I agree with that too, Violet. Getting married on Sunday, so most of this week off means I can catch all the streams this week. Well, okay, well, I'll make sure not to stream on Sunday so you can have the day off. Congratulations. Our wedding is in a little less than 6 months now. Okay, so this can give me Delirium. Oh, no, I really should have played the Woodland, though, so I could have copied the Kozilek next turn. I guess one thing I could do actually is I could discard the Kozilek now, and I could Collector Ouphe. But the problem is they could have another Rebuke, and the game is going to be very hard if they have another Rebuke, and that happens. How far from running Kozilek's command in this deck are we? Pretty far. Pretty far, I'll say. This is deck week to mill. I do have an Emrakul the Aeons torn in the sideboard. I assume you're asking because we have this in our hand. Right now we have 2 cards that could imprint to an Ugin's Lab. You really like can't be a Sultai build of this deck and like even consider it, honestly. Alright, so I'm down to 10. We draw a Rumble. Let me go to combat first here. I'm going to go ahead and exile 2 lands and an instant. Let's get ready to rumble. Nice. So I guess we'll take backup Woodland. So how do we want to play around a Rebuke? I think just cast Kozilek first. Maybe it was better to discard this Woodland so I would draw an extra card. I didn't really think about that until 1 second too late. So now the Collector Ouphe stops my opponent from being able to cast Rebuke. Okay, so no Rebuke is available anymore. I guess I'll go ahead and rumble first here. Now, I don't have a 3 in my hand to counter like a possible force. Okay. Well. They only have 1 card left in their hand, so this is probably going to get there. Okay, they concede. Although we only get to draw 7 more with Emrakul. Well, we have Ouphe and Kozilek and Griselbrand in play. So that would probably get the job done. Let me check out another challenge. Show 10 matches in progress. Lost round 1 to Belcher. It seemed like a good matchup in testing last week, but that's how it goes sometimes. Well, I'm not usually one to mulligan Force of Vigor on the draw against Affinity. I'm probably going to actually traverse turn 1, though. I only have basic forest in the deck. Okay, drawing this, then that's not going to be the case anymore. Yeah, let's go on blue. Don't think I need to force that. Not right now, at least. We could just cast the frog next turn. Now it would cost me 2 cards to block the Tamiyo. They don't crack their bauble. Not cracking the bauble is pretty interesting here since they could have attacked and then flipped. So yeah, this portable hold does make sense. So they're going to attack with the Tamiyo. They're not thinking about Force of Vigor at all. I'm going to target this Lantern. I'm going to target the portable hole and the frog. I'm going to pitch the Traverse the Ulvenwald. And then the bargain is so valuable, but I have to discard. Okay, I'm definitely going to discard the Misty. I think I'm going to discard the Indulgence. Just get a little greedy, but I also need a graveyard filler too. Alright, so we got a 3/4 frog back. We've got a dead Tamiyo. They got 2 cards left in their hand. They do have a bauble and some clues though. I think I'll go ahead and discard this Griselbrand so that I maybe just kill them with the frog this game. They only have, maybe 2 portable holes left. I don't know if they would have dispatch in against me or not. Nice, great top deck. And then if their last 2 cards are force blue cards, so be it. Blue, black. Great. I've already played my land this turn. There's gonna be instant enchantment land if I don't take this. So I think I just take Traverse and Borborygmos. Yeah, I guess Traverse Verdant Catacombs is gonna be better so that I can actually attack with a Woodland Omniscience or Woodland Griselbrand the following turn, or a Woodland Bobo potentially. Another thing I didn't really mention about this deck, but Psychic Frog plus Griselbrand, or sometimes Psychic Frog plus Kozilek, just lets you make a big frog and win that way. Which is another reason it's not being on Karn. Jor with the tier 2. Let's go. Thank you so much. Hope you're having a good week. Or start to your week. Alright, they found a Mox. 4 cards left in their hand here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So a Thought Monitor would cost 1. Okay, they're playing a Steel Cutter as their second spell this turn. Not the most scary. I think, I was going to traverse for a Woodland. I feel like just traversing for a Collector Ouphe is just actually going to be my play, unless I Surveil Omniscience into the yard potentially. Yeah, I think another Frog's okay. Oh, I'm just going to shut. Sorry, I should have played this after. No, I needed to fetch. I needed to fetch for Delirium. Never mind. So now if they force this, I guess I get to play another Frog. Okay. Have I revisited Karn Battlecry? It seemed like the best version. I guess I just disagree that it's the best version. I think that the Hellkite build is the best. I know our record with the Karn build is better, but I think that the Battlecry build makes you more resilient, it makes you more interactive, and it gives you a sideboard. And it also makes your you have fewer hands that are just awkward, where your hand is all metamorphs and Karns and you have no defense. So it's like there's just a lot I really like about the about this build of the deck, and my impression has been that it's been the best version. If I find a Woodland, I could potentially use it this turn, although it's a little bit awkward to not fire off the bargain, maybe. Okay, they have a Force. Pitching a Tamiyo. Of course, if you think the Karn build is the best, you can keep working on it. Okay, exile one of the 2 instants. Another instant because we have 1 in our hand. I guess the Sprawl, since if we find Omniscience, we can go there. Although, of course, the Frog is probably what's going to get the job done this game. I'm going to keep that to discard, I think. Why do you have 4/1 of threats? Traverse the Ulvenwald. Gotta keep this. Having the ability to wish for amazing silver bullets, cutting off artifacts. Bomb helps against current prowess list too. Can't play currently, but I think about cards are cheap. Well, how I guess Bomb just kills like the tokens from Steel Cutter. I don't know. Bomb is so slow. Carding for Bomb is so slow. Like it'll come up sometimes, but to me it's just not like a very meaningful thing, honestly. Okay, probably up against Storm against the basic mountain. It could be Boros still. They do play one mountain, but like I think the start is a little bit more likely to be Storm. Scalding Turn also. Oblivion of the 21 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Enjoying the remaster. There's the Ral. I don't have a push in my hand or a force. So I guess we might as well just try to get lucky and combo kill next turn if we get a next turn. And we would be able to combo kill if we do get that next turn. I have to make sure I have Delirium. So land, sorcery, enchantment, creature. So I can take the Sprawl or the Overgrown Tomb. I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter. We have a turn 3 kill. They've probably got a turn 3 kill. Not doing great at winning the die rolls today. Your biggest issue appears to be 0 tokens and artifacts and 1 cost cards. Bomb seems stellar there. I guess I just disagree that seems to be the biggest issue. Where like I think the biggest issue is like Boros and Prowess have really efficient 1-mana removal that lines up well against your cards. And so they're able to put a lot of fast pressure on you while killing your stuff. And so, like, Ratchet Bomb isn't even necessarily very good against the 1-drops, where it's just slow. It's like cast Karn, get Ratchet Bomb, tick up Ratchet Bomb is not going to be beating your opponent having fast removal and fast pressure. It's like, I don't know. To me, it's maybe a card that you could play, but it just doesn't solve the big problems, in my opinion. All right, well, Storm be storming sometimes. Do I have 5 lands? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Vault Fracture with the 54 months. Thank you. Welcome back. In fact, I feel like just getting a sideboard is helps you more against these aggro builds. All right, so up a game against Storm is great. We have a Soulless Jailer that we can traverse for. Guess not much beyond that, which I think is okay. Do I want to bring in the Mite to traverse for? It's kind of slow. We also have Force of Negations. I think 3 push is a good number against the Ral. We should be able to cut the Bobo. Kozilek or Emrakul is just going to be game winning against them. I'm not going to bring in Consign. Consign is not very good against Storm. The main thing Consign can do is counter a Ruby. It used to be better against Static Prison, but like a lot of builds just aren't playing Static Prison. Grave should have been crazy. Well, it is a sorcery. Do you still play Traverse with Karn? Yeah, Traverse is always a fora for me in this archetype where like it both like it's a payoff if you have Woodland Omniscience because you have Delirium and you can get a Griselbrand, which will usually win you the game, and it also digs you for Discard Outlet and Frog and also just Confined Woodland. I think it's a really 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 good card in the deck. And it's also nice that you can build the deck this way, although it's not mandatory, of course, but you can build the deck this way that that just doesn't play Karn as the win condition. What third threat would you play in Demolish, Steel Cutter, or DRC? Tomio. Steel Cutter is not good in Phoenix. Like, you just almost cannot trigger it turn 2. I mean, Steel Cutter is a very good card, but it just isn't a Phoenix card in my opinion. Interesting pickup. I guess we put one in our hand here. Now we don't have Delirium. We do get to Surveil next turn to look at going Omniscience into Omniscience Emrakul. And we've got a Soulless Jailer, which is pretty good against them, and they mulligan. They only have 4 cards in their hand after they draw. Thanks again, Sam, with the 59. Hope you're doing well today. Like it isn't uncommon that they find lands where they can only grape shot a single time. I actually very much disagree. I think it is very uncommon that like single grape shot lines come up. Like I played a lot of Storm. I played against a lot of Storm. I feel like it almost never happened. In fact, they kind of rarely even play just one. Even a single grape shot in the main is not like a stock. Like a lot of times it's just like they're just wishing for grape shot when they want to kill you. Okay, so we get to Emrakul then. Oh, they concede? Opponent, we could have had some fun. Okay, so it was a fast match. We're 2-0 in our league. We're 0-1 in our challenge. There's one match still in progress. But if they do, we can maybe just to be more focused on this because they have like a 13-minute time differential to make up on. We're 2-0 in this league, 0-1 in the challenge, about to be 1-1 in the challenge. No thanks to our efforts. Mountain Marco Sharko, very cool. Would love to find a black source. This is very weird. I think I have to take the Woodland. I just like Omniscience in the yard, Woodland in hand. I'm missing a type in the yard, and I don't have any black mana to cast this push to just like win the game. But I do have a lot more black sources than I have woodlands. I can draw... I guess Traverse doesn't do it, but I can draw Utopia Sprawl, Rumble, any black source. Oh! Perfect. Let's go! Thanks, opponent. Very cool. Hopefully they don't bolt my spawn, although they would be well within their right to after helping me out so much here. No way, my opponent showed up. Okay, I'm gonna win this game real quick, but... Okay, I'm gonna take a land here so that I can Borborygmos a bit more. Let me just cast this. Do I show them the Emrakul? I need 6 lands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. No land there, but we got 2 more bargains. Turn 3. Okay, so we have won game 1 over here. Now, our challenge opponent has shown up. They've kept 7. What was I putting back here? This card, I think. And they've got 11 minutes, 49 seconds on the clock for their match. I'm going to be graveyarding this Metamorph and passing back to our opponent. Sorry, I meant to tab over first. Sideboarding over here. Fatal Push in. Haywire Mite in for ley lines / other lock pieces. Or bring in Dismember. I'll play 1 force. Okay, so Scalding Tarn. Pass. I name green here, so it's a little bit weird. If I had a basic island I could traverse for with this hand, not that you can see it, I know, but just narrating, I would have kept, but I didn't, so I mulligan might be something to consider. They have the ley line. Alright, so they go turn 2 Preordain, so we're probably playing against Prowess, which is not a very good matchup, admittedly. Oh, okay, not Prowess. Okay, so play Kiora. I did see someone in chat asking, well, Spike, why Kiora? Hopefully this can enlighten you. At the very least, I'm pretty sure that the first copy of Kiora is pretty good. Your turn. K return would be bad. They also thought seized me, and they took Fatal Push instead of the Frog in this hand. I guess maybe I was supposed to go Traverse for Forest into Sprawl next turn. They did have the K return. So I get to go Sure Shot, draw card. Rumble. Grab a Trailblazer. Trailblazer, draw a card. Make red mana. Cast a Hellkite, draw 2 cards. Lost to have Belcher at round 1. Two, three. Grab a Battle Crier, draw 2. 0 mana to Metamorph Trailblazer. Make a blue mana. Green sent for another Trailblazer. I don't know if, are they already dead? I don't get to haste my Sure Shot. This is 8, 12. 12 plus 8 is 20 damage. How much life do modern players start with? Does anybody know? Let me know if y'all have crunched the numbers on that yet. Okay, so it's pan back over here. I've cast a Frog, and I've passed. You have a Bowmaster? Okay, Burning Inquiry would be pretty interesting. I don't think I'm just conceding to it. Let me go sideboard. Nice to win round 1 after against Eldrazi, especially when they have such little time on the clock here. I'm gonna bring in the Consigns. I don't think I'm bringing in anything else right now. I think this is the sideboard plan. Opponent at least sideboards fast. Guess they finished round 1 with only using only 1 minute of their clock to their credit. My opening 7 I think has to be a mulligan, although it's got a lot of mana acceleration, just nothing to do with it. I'm gonna keep my 6. I'm gonna tab back over here. They do have the Burning Inquiry, and they deleted my Frog from my hand. They graveyarded a Detective's Phoenix also. Let me just go ahead and click this keep button. Again, sorry for the double queue. It's just my opponent didn't show up for 15 minutes. I didn't think they'd show up as soon as I join a league match. That's the Sock Up versus Winter Night Stories in this kind of list. I haven't tried Stories. Stories could be surprisingly good, but I haven't tried it yet. Okay, they play a Talisman. We're going to play a Fanatic. This other game, I'm casting a Rakshaka's Bargain. Very nice. It doesn't trigger the Bowmaster. Don't find any cards I'm looking for, though. Okay, hard to imagine my opponent has a K command, and they're interested in using it as removal. They might want to just be like scry drawing or something. Okay, they do have it. Kind of surprised they just let me draw a card and let me make the mana here. So it seems like they just want to scry draw, maybe like cast an Ugin. Alright, I'm gonna pass the turn here. As my opponent is also passing this turn in this other game. Very weird game over here. I'm just going in on my frog here in this other game. I'm discarding my entire hand to hit them for 7, and then they're going to kill my spawn token, and they can attack me for 6 next turn down to 5. Might not be... Okay, they don't target the spawn. Might not be the best plan, but it's kind of what we... Oh. Okay, they do cast the K command. They do scry draw. Now, if they want to Ugin, they have to have untapped land because this is a stun counter on it. I don't know my opponent's hand. Is it like all ley lines? Because they're not doing anything with this Phoenix. I guess maybe they have another Bowmaster. Okay, well my opponent's not going to let me hit them with the frog, so let's just go ahead and attack first. Okay. So I guess I'm going to be main phasing this bargain, looking for land Fatal Push, which I don't find. I do find Boseiju. I think I'm just going to focus on this match for now, so the viewing experience is a bit better. Lost to Belcher the challenge. Oh, my opponent is casting a Through the Breach over here in this part of the challenge here. I have 7 permanents. Okay, well, hopefully my Hellkite solos them. In this game, my opponent is thought seizing me. They take my Tainted Indulgence. My hand is just a Boseiju. They can now escape this Detective's Phoenix, but if they don't have another creature to play, I don't know what they're doing with it. So I drew a Fatal Push, so I guess I'm just going to go Fatal Push the Orc Army, Boseiju the Detective's Phoenix, attack. All right, so we're 3-0 in this league. We can focus on our challenge match. All right, got a mulligan to 7. They're on the draw here against a Kihira. Pretty happy to see a Kihira, although a little less happy to be mulling to 5. All right, against Kihira, we get to put back these 2 Fatal Pushes. Why the 4 fatties in the Sultai deck? Traverse the Ulvenwald, can grab the right one at the right time. Okay, that's a great card to see here. I played a little bit of the new Oblivion, not a ton of it so far. It kind of feels like they might have Snare the way they're pausing, and there's a lot of 3 mana cards they could tap out for, so I think we're gonna wait on the Indulgence here. Hopefully it's not Narset. Nice. So I guess I discard Rumble. This way I could just go Omniscience with 2 Traverses to fight through Counter Magic next turn. And I need to have a sorcery in the yard for Delirium. And then if they counter the Rumble next turn, then I can't activate the Woodlands. Okay, tapped Hall of the Storm Giants. We're also going to Surveil to look for any extra bit of action here. Okay, so copy the Omniscience. What ways could they have? I guess they'd have to have Sink into the Stupor. Or like main deck Binding. Main deck Surgical. Main deck Thraben Charm. Wonder what they're thinking about. Ooh, I bet they're thinking about casting Days Undoing. Okay, maybe not. This is bait. Surely they would have just cast Days Undoing if they had it, right? Would have been kind of a crazy blowout. They tap white and then they stop. So they have a... They have Orum's Chant? Had a Dice Factory Field last week's challenge. It was good. We lost to Mill. And Mill seems to be tough. So like, I think if we had the Emrakul, we would have gotten there. We also lost to Brood-Scale twice, which was weird. Or no, wait. Maybe I might be confusing a different challenge. Why would they? Well, because Days Undoing shuffles the graveyard in. Why does it feel like they have a binding? They keep tapping white. I don't know. So I wanted to start with the Emrakul. Okay, so they Solitude my Emrakul. Pitching Wrath the Skies. Yeah, Mana Time. Maybe. Alright, see what we can do with this Griselbrand. Might be better to start with Kozilek. Okay, they conceded. Alright, Bolt of 5. Easy. Kill him turn 4. This matchup is your best matchup, I think. Ambulance with the Twitch Prime. Thank you. Welcome back. Alright, so I'm going to be cutting the Fatal Pushes. I'm going to bring in the Haywire Mite. Do I want to bring in Emrakul? I don't think so. I think it's just really for Mill. I do think that they probably have Rest in Peace and High Noon. So I'm going to try bringing in the Forces too. What's Kozilek for? So Kozilek, one kind of issue when you're in on the Traverse plan instead of the Karn build is when you Woodlands Omniscience. If you're playing against Prowess, if you're playing against Boros, a lot of times your life total is low enough that Griselbrand can't draw you any cards and they can win through Griselbrand. And if you go for Emrakul, a lot of times they're so ahead on board, Emrakul doesn't win. But Kozilek wins a lot of times in these spots where you can go cast Kozilek, draw a lot of cards, use those cards to stabilize in board, playing Frogs, Fatal Pushes, maybe you have another Traverse for Griselbrand. And then it also stops like removal spells, and more pressure with the counter ability. It's also like a nice cast trigger too sometimes. You can also just Woodlands it twice and kill them, which is kind of also what's fun about these cards is like they're all still really good to just Woodlands on it and attack in some matchups. Thanks, an ambulanced. Okay, let's keep this 7. My opponent has also kept 7. Yeah, bargaining Analyze the Pollen's a pretty tall order. So I want to lead on Overgrown Tomb here so that if my opponent Prismatic Endings my Utopia Sprawl, I can still play Frog turn 2. Although it's not out of the question for them to have Harbingers. Not super likely though. Alright, I think I should play a Frog this turn, although I kind of feel like I'm walking into a snare. Yeah. Do you think Kozilek is a lot better than Atraxa? Atraxa being castable, if you want to splash for it's interesting. I wouldn't say I think it's a lot better than Atraxa. I think it's pretty similar. Atraxa could be better. They do pretty similar things. It's also nice that Kozilek it like stabilizes against Storm. It's also a card that people have a hard time playing against. I don't know exactly how valuable that is, but surely that's worth something, right? All right, so let's name blue. Let's play a frog. Let's surveil again. Oh yeah, they reveal Kira, right? Any takeaway from the Dice Factor deck on Friday? I want to cut the power conduit from the board and add an Emrakul. Be more resilient to mill. Yeah, I don't think I've got a lot else besides that. They might just not minus the Narset. Okay, they do minus Narset. They reveal a Prismatic Ending, which they don't cast now. That kind of surprises me. If they've got a Solitude here, we're pretty cooked. Yeah, maybe Wishbane Orb. Oh, we also would have won if I realized we could Curse Totem to stop the spawn tokens. Okay, they have the Solitude. We are now pretty cooked. Although we might fill up the yard pretty. We might bargain into like Rumble and cast Emrakul next turn. Ah. There we go. Flame Knight, 19 months. Magic the Gathering to you too. They did pitch the Prismatic Ending, then they forced the bargain. A very good draw. I think I'm going to concede because they have the Gaia Reach, actually. Just can't get out of this. It's kind of the nuts. Okay, game 3. Hopefully we can force Teferi or Narset this time. How are we liking Bargain? I think it's clearly the best card for this effect. Well, I think it's clearly the best card for this graveyard-focused 2-card combo deck. I think that it's clearly the best when you're a graveyard-focused 2-card combo deck. There's a lot of synergy, like the Oculus deck too, filling up the yard there. But I don't think it's worth splashing for a Bargain in Frog. I would rather stay Dimir and have your Harbingers be better and play maybe like Archmage's Charm or Stock Up or Kaito instead of that spot. But I think it's good. I think it's cool that right now when you're deck building, choosing between cards like Stock Up, Bargain, Brain Surge, Archmage's Charm, Expressive Iteration, Kishless Skimmer package, Catchermost package, all of this is something you have to consider, and I think that's cool. What does the Sanitarium do so bad here? Draw a card for 3 mana while you don't get one. Isn't that crazy? Is it? No, so what they can do is they can go upkeep, you draw a card, discard a card, and then you've already drawn a card for turn, and so on your draw step, you don't I don't get a card on my draw step. That's the big problem. Sand's not amazing, but I think we can keep it. Yeah, Storm's Rancid might be better too than Bargain. At the very least makes the mana a lot better. Alright, so let's surveil. Maybe I should have kept that, actually. I think the thing is, it's going to help a lot with card types. And if I don't find a way to get the Omniscience in the yard, just copying the Griselbrand will be really good. Which is likely what we're going to do next turn, is just copy Griselbrand with Woodland, draw 14. At the very least, I just want to force up and be able to discard Omniscience to hand size. Okay, so they have a Surgical Extraction. How are they playing Surgical over Rest in Peace in their non-flaged build? Maybe they're just reading cards? We kind of have to bait it, I guess, even if we suspect they have it. I wonder what's got them taking their time so much here. Did you ever consider a Steel Cutter Skimmer deck? Skimmer draws cards to play spells for Steel Cutter. I mean, I was looking at the Teamer builds. The Teamer builds seem so much worse than Sultai. I don't know. Also, like, Skimmer wants you to draw cards and interact with your opponent. Steel Cutter just wants you to kill your opponent. It's like, it's not really very synergistic. There are better card draw spells to pair with Steel Cutter. Okay, so they prismatic ending my token. I guess that makes sense. Yeah, I think I want to go for the Indulgence here so that I can be a little bit better against a Narset. Although, I guess maybe Rumble was better because then I could have attacked a Narset next turn with the Griselbrand. Although if they have Solitude, it's really bad. A lot of things to consider. Okay, I don't mind if they counter this. Alright, so let's hope that I was wrong about that Surgical. I'm going to target the Omniscience. Nice. So cast Omniscience to play around a Disenchant effect. Counterspell. Let's go Bargain in response. I might want to force this. Okay, so we'll take Kozilek and we'll take Traverse. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to play the Frog. I'm going to go Traverse for Borborygmos because my Griselbrand is gone. Borborygmos, 3 damage. Then I'm going to go discard a Haywire Mite, discard a Force, Kozilek, draw 7. I've drawn 2 lands. See if we can bargain and rumble into more lands. Nice. Okay, 4-0. Already did our trophy prediction. Build is feeling pretty dang good. Ding. I'm back after 5 years of inactivity. What is the best blue-white control shell? Is it blue-white, Eldrazi control, and Mulldrifter? I don't know if that's the best one. Like the mana is really weird, but I did want to come back and like try that build again after not feeling like I had figured it out. So I would recommend trying it. I'm not the best ones that are performing right now are the Narset Teferi builds for whatever that's worth. Those are the best performing. Okay, so if I take Frog, I can't really double spell next turn. My Frog is also probably not going to be very good. Yeah, I think it's kind of weird, but I think I just want to take the Sprawl. This Zoo? Not the most powerful turn here. I get why our opponent doesn't want to exile the 3 lands for the Frog because of the Flage. This card's another Flage, so I'm down to 18. They've got 4 cards in their hand. Then I draw another Frog. Let's cast this Bargain. This card's a Lightning Bolt. This card's a Ragavan. Down to 14. Escaping Flage, presumably, putting me down to 11. Not helpful. Another one of these, huh? Okay, so I guess we try to high roll Omniscience with the Indulgence first. We miss on. So we'll play a Frog, play a Rumble, have a couple blockers. Hopefully we see an Omniscience here. Nice. couldn't have rumbled over the Omniscience and gone for it here. Although I guess a double Flames or Flames Bolt is going to be kind of an anticlimactic end. But that'll get the job done. Weird game. Let's bring in the fourth push. I think about the Force of... They play Rest in Peace a lot of times, or at least they did before they played Flage. Let's try this. Leaf Blade with the 17, thank you, welcome back. Okay, for the trophy. Keeping our 7. But it bowls to 6. Graveyard the Misty Rainforest. Untap. Breeding Pool Frog. Seem pretty F6, which is us. Attack of the Frog. Does block. Okay, so we're going to discard 3 cards here. Definitely going to be Kozilek. I think it's Kozilek Frog Rumble. Makes sense. Nice. Now we have Omniscience Woodland for next turn. We got a 4/5 Frog, and they've got no board, so it can't be feeling too bad. Like, worst case scenario, they play Rest in Peace. Okay, that's pretty interesting. Let me see what it's on top of my library. I'm going to discard the Indulgence. I know it's very good with the Omniscience, but Frog sees 1 card, Indulgence sees 2. And if my opponent like wakes up with a Surgical Extraction, this is a lot better. Although if they have the Bolt, this is a lot worse. Obviously, we have a lot of top decks, and we obviously didn't find any. So, pass back to our opponent. We might just, like, copy the Kozilek twice, though. Interesting game. Then they find the Nile Spellbomb. This is devastating. Wow. Devastating. There's another one. I shouldn't have fetched. I'm pretty bad because I now just can't. Fatal push the Flage. Sorry about that. Still very difficult game to win. It does look like the Indulgence off the Omniscience wouldn't have stabilized us for whatever that's worth. If we had pushed this, we would have had several more draws, though. So, but 4-1 our first league. Obviously, I think the deck looked pretty good. I think I want to run it back this time. Says the primary. Good push. Just got to copy the fetch and crack it. Well, I don't have Delirium.